A lot of what we're talking about today comes from the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Great book. It's super basic in a way. Like it's simple stuff that he's teaching, but it's that daily action leads to just such big results. Like you might look at someone and think, oh my gosh, they were an overnight success. But what you don't see is like years and decades of turmoil and transformation and shifts that happen that led to something happening, quote unquote, overnight.
And most of the people that listen to our podcast probably know Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
Like that is a go-to name in this industry.
Absolutely.
And Kiyosaki wrote the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like 10 years prior to it making it to a best-selling status.
Right. Well, and he and Kim are such a success, but they lived in their car.
They went bankrupt.
Right. I mean, they lived a hard life. And you look at like Steve Jobs, Apple, what a big company. Holy crap. Like,
yeah.
Who doesn't have an iPhone besides me? I'm that weird person. But
well, we're producing on a Mac. So.
Yeah. Right. But you think of what Apple is, they didn't work out of the garage, but they did hang out in his garage.
Him and old Steve Wozniak.
Yeah. So people have these humble beginnings. And you think about like professional athletes, like the gymnastics group. Like you have a friend who his daughter does gymnastics and she works her butt off.
They have been posting about their daughter being in gymnastics since she was probably 2 or 3 years old in different, tumbling classes and all that. And I think she's probably 10 or 11 now. And she has been doing it for almost 10 years.
Right. She might be 12.
Right. And she is just now getting to the point where they are doing these big open events of these are like the pre-quals for the Olympics.
Right.
And it might seem like, you would have to be pretty ignorant minded to think, oh, that gymnastic person, I bet they just started tumbling last month or something like that.
Yeah.
But, it takes a lot more time than you probably give it credit for.
I mean, you think about Tiger Woods or any professional athlete, like they live, breathe everything, that sport.
Yeah.
Every day.
And in order to live and breathe and be and embody that thing, I guarantee you they had to give up so much.
Absolutely.
To be able to do that. Because you can't go be a, minor league baseball player for the rest of your life because it doesn't pay. Well, and if it does, it doesn't pay well.
You can, I guess. Some people do, but I mean, I think it comes down to consistent action and working your tail off and that being their one thing that they focus on.
Right.
But I also want to say you can't compare your chapter 1 to Robert Kiyosaki's his chapter 50.
No, not at all.
Or our chapter 10. You have to recognize where you are in the stage and not try to get in a comparison trap, which is a little bit off topic of today's episode. But I just want to say, like, your friend's daughter who's been doing it since she was 2, if you start at 10, you can't compare yourself to someone that's been doing it for almost a decade.
Even if you're the same age.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We all are on our different paths and we all have different goals.
Right.
So I guess I want to give a thought of recognize where you are. A great book that just came to me is The Gap in the Gain.
Yeah.
And the point of that book is it's Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, I think, also wrote it with him. And it's acknowledge where you have come from.
Exactly.
And yeah, you might not have met your goals for this quarter, but acknowledge what you've accomplished. And not just in your business. Maybe something personally happened. Consistently, I'm like, what have we been doing with this business for the last 6 months? And then it's like, oh yeah, I've, had a 3-month-old and a 2-year-old while you were on army deployments by myself and continued pushing on the business. So yes, the business might not be where I wanted it to be after Q1 and Q2, but our personal life has evolved and we accomplished a lot personally.
Right.
So just acknowledging the gain instead of focusing on the gap.
And the gap is always going to be there.
Right.
If you are a go-getter and if you have large dreams, there's always going to be a gap. But to feel confident about what you've achieved so far and to feel good about the work that you've put into what you're doing, just take a minute to just stop and take a look at where you came from.
Yeah.
No matter what you're doing. And to go back to the comparison thing, it doesn't matter what age you start doing whatever it is you're trying to do. It is never too late to get started, and there's always a place to go.
Absolutely. I'm working with a client right now, and he's frustrated that he didn't hit his goals for this quarter. But he got married. Like, of course you didn't hit your goals. Like, you had this huge major life event happen. Celebrate that. And his horse had a baby. So if you're listening, hey, but you know who you are. But his unexpectedly had a horse baby.
Yeah.
And you can't plan for that kind of stuff. So he might not have reached his goals, but he's still on a path, and he's doing the daily action that it takes to reach that goal. So yeah, I mean, it might look like sometimes luck and circumstances and outside environment might lead to things that lead to that transformation.
Yeah.
But it's really that daily action.
Yeah.
I mean, the friend of yours his daughter does gymnastics, like circumstances definitely helped. The parents recognized a talent in her early on and took action and helped set her up to be in a circumstance where she could do that. But it's also her commitment and daily action that's leading to her success.
Absolutely.
So for us, like, we might not have parents who taught us real estate as young kids. We certainly didn't.
Nope.
But it's our daily action that has led to where we are.